Royal Rumble predictions. I'm Will. That's Brandon. We are the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. As always, let's cheers. Talk about some wrestling, huh?
My favorite PLE of the year. I know Mania's got like a special place in everybody's heart, but this one's just all out fun typically. Unless you went to the Rumble we went to.
Yeah.
Other than that, the Rumble's great.
Yeah, we're officially, like 8 months into this thing? And this is easily the most hyped I am for a podcast.
Most hyped, and you get that road to WrestleMania really kicks off here, and here we go.
We're not just going to go right to the Rumbles and just be like, this is who we think is going to win. We're going to break down the Rumbles a little bit. Obviously, we're going to have a what-if video as well, so be looking out for that we go deeper into the storylines we think are going to come. But we have some good stuff here, and we got 2 matches that are on this Rumble card first. And before I say that, tune into our live stream and watch along for the Royal Rumble this Saturday with us on YouTube. We're going to do a t-shirt giveaway as well, so just be there as well.
Tag team. A little bit earlier before the Rumble starts, just kind of hanging out and preparing.
Tag team action. We get a tag team championship match on PLE. What? That's new.
First time in forever.
Not only is it a tag team championship match, it's a 2 out of 3 falls.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about in our 2025 wish list video at the beginning of the year. We wanted to see more stipulated matches. That's a fun stipulation. Yep. So good to see. We got tag team championship action, DIY taking on the Motor City Machine Guns in 2 out of 3 falls match. Who do you got winning this thing?
Yeah, you got both matches with stipulations outside the Rumble. So, yeah, fantastic. I like the 2 out of 3 falls. I like the ladder match. 2 of my favorites. So this one's kind of right up my alley, I guess. This one, in terms of the match specifically, I kind of hate to say it, but I'm going with DIY.
Oh,
because it's the reason I say I hate to say it is Motor City, I don't think, is the end goal here. I don't think Motor City is getting those titles back anytime soon. I think the money feud is DIY. Pretty deadly, which is something I never thought I would say. Yep. I was excited when they first came up, then went back and was like, man, they need something. Well, I think they're going to get it eventually. 2 out of 3 falls here. It's going to be great. It's going to be a really good in-ring match and out of the ring. I assume they're going to go out of the ring probably some little bit here. Going to be fantastic, but ultimately DIY retains. That way they can, maybe it's at Mania, them versus the Yes Boys.
Oh, yeah. Guessing 2 to 1, right? There's going to be 3 pins here.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you can't. I couldn't tell you the last time. I don't even know if it's ever happened. It's 2 out of 3 falls and they just end at 2. It's like, we didn't even need that.
Yeah, I am with you. I have a different prediction. I think Motor City Machine Gun does win this match, 2 falls to 1, but I think it's going to be because Pretty Deadly gets involved and accidentally ends up screwing DIY out of this. I think that you're right. The money feud coming out of this is going to be Pretty Deadly DIY. I just think that they're going to utilize that feud away from the tag team title belts, and the winner of that feud is eventually going to come back around to Motor City Machine Guns, probably Pretty Deadly, after you give them a few weeks against DIY, hopefully build them up to a point, get the crowd fully behind them, and then maybe eventually they can take the titles off of Machine Gun or Motor City Machine Guns after that. So I have Motor City Machine Guns just taking it here.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I think we all know that's probably the end goal is Pretty Deadly DIY. It's kind of like, how do they get there? They could get there. They could, like you said, they could switch them. They could keep them. They could also integrate another tag team and do like another 8-man, 4-team tag team match at Mania. One of those things. So who really knows? But this is nice to just see a tag match for the titles on a PLE again.
Yeah, you'll love to see it. Mm-hmm. Quick and easy, as I expected that to be.
Yep.
Big one, though. Championship match. Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, ladder match, winner takes all belts. Who do you got winning at the Royal Rumble?
Yeah, you could really argue that coming out of it, the storyline, I think, would be better for Kevin if Kevin does take that title. But it is Cody Rhodes. Yeah. I think there's going to be some interference in this match on both sides. I think this one is going to be after the Men's Rumble. I think the Men's Rumble goes on first, starts the night.
Ooh.
That way you can have some interference here with a couple of people from the outside looking in at that title, looking in, more specifically, I guess, Sami Zayn. Is he going to help KO? Is he going to not? Is he going to help Cody? Ultimately, though, I think you get CM Punk helping Cody some way, somehow. And that's how we get the retain from Cody with the ladder match, just because CM Punk said he's the one that wants to take that title off. He is the one real friend of Cody Rhodes. So maybe that's what you get. You've got Chamber coming up in Canada in March, the next PLE. I think maybe Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens are either in the chamber match or maybe they're in a tag match of some sort. Maybe you start to kind of do that again. Some people might get tired of that, but I think CM Punk ultimately helps Cody.
I think this has been a wonderful build-up to what's going to be the obvious answer of Cody Rhodes retaining and eventually taking that title all the way to WrestleMania. I think they've done as good of a job as they could do when it comes to making us feel like Cody Rhodes might actually lose this one. You have Kevin Owens talking to Sami Zayn. You have the CM Punk stuff, like you said. Piece of this that I don't think people are really expecting. I think that Randy Orton is going to get involved in this match in one way, shape, or form. Haven't seen him in a while. Royal Rumble, obviously. Think he's going to be there. So I think we do get shenanigans throughout the match with Sami Zayn, with Randy Orton, with CM Punk, maybe. A lot of stuff going on there. But ultimately, I just think Cody Rhodes is going to WrestleMania champion. I don't think that they take it off him right here. And it's just that plain and simple. Cody Rhodes, champion.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those things you're not going to bet against him until you see it happen.
Yeah.
So I would be right more times than I am wrong if I pick Cody Rhodes. So that's what I'm going to do.
Exactly. It's like the Chiefs of WWE
Yes.
right now. Quick and easy on the first two, because obviously we're excited because, we want to get to the meat of it. It's called the Royal freaking Rumble. It ain't called Cody versus Kevin Owens. Am I right? Let's get to the Women's Royal Rumble match. As I said earlier, we're not just going to come out here and be like, well, who do you think is going to win here? And walk away with it. We got some good stuff going. I want to lay the groundwork. I took the past 3 years' Final Fours just as reference. So in 2022, you had the Final Four as Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair, and Shayna Baszler. Hashtag PFC all the way. Ronda Rousey wins that one. In 23, you had Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Asuka, and Nikki Cross. Wow. Rhea Ripley obviously takes that one. Then last year, Bayley wins with the Final Four. Bayley, Liv Morgan, Jade Cargill, and Tiffy Stratton. So if you look at that, you see a lot of Liv Morgan in there. You see some Bianca. You see some names that we're going to see here. Let's start with our first two women in the Rumble. Who do you think are going to be the first two in?
God, that's tough.
We'll go back and forth here. So you can start this one. Next topic, I'll start. We'll shoot them back and forth. First two in. Who's your predictions?
You're putting me on the spot because I wasn't ready for this one. First two, you know what? We've seen Naomi have a history. Naomi's come in at 2 before.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and say Naomi.
Okay.
And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say Bianca.
Naomi and Bianca.
Yeah.
Wow.
Why not? I don't really know off the top of my head the first two, but they kind of had the most story, at least here. Being, tag team champions, there could be some struggle. There could be some back and forth. Obviously, there's the looming Jade stuff as well. I think maybe you get that way later on in the match. But as I'm being put on the spot right now, as we are looking at this, that's maybe the first two that I have.
Yeah. I went with the curveball on this one. I think the first two in the ring are going to be one of two teams. I'm going to give my likely opinion on this. I think it's likely. I think Liv and Raquel start the match. I think you have Liv and Raquel start that match. You have Liv just walk out there, be cocky, do her thing where she kind of leans into the ropes. She laughs at everybody as they come in. Maybe you throw some some low-level talent right away in the ring. You have Raquel kind of start the match strong, kind of like Brock Lesnar did a few years ago when he was a champion and entered into the Rumble match because he thought he was better than everybody. So you have Raquel clear shop like that early on. I think that could be fun. I don't think this is going to happen, but same sort of thing with Piper and Chelsea Green. I can see them doing the same thing there. I just think that there are a lot of teams that would be interesting to start the match with. That would be a cool Royal Rumble moment. Like, the first two are, they're working together. The hell's the third person going to do and the fourth person going to do? So that'd be cool.
It's kind of like when the Usos started out 1-2.
Yeah.
Obviously, they didn't work together, and they were like, handshake, let's go after it. Let's see
go.
what happens.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we get here. It always just is just kind of cooler for that to happen, because there's so much intrigue. I like there being a little bit of story between 1 and 2 rather than just two random people.
We'll move it on to returns. Royal Rumble. It's all about the fun returns, right?
Yes.
Who in the world do we think is going to return? You went first on the last one. I'll go first here. I broke this down by a lot. I had my likely choices and my unlikely choices. I'll start with my unlikely ones here.
Okay.
Unlikely, I'm going to get it out of the way. AJ Lee is not returning during this Royal Rumble. I don't think it's happening. Punk's been on many interviews saying how good she's doing with her comic book stuff or whatever she's doing. I don't know if it's comic book. It's some sort of entertainment company that she does. All to her. She's the best. I also had Alexa Bliss on my unlikely list. And then likely, you got Nikki Bella. She's showing up.
Okay.
She's showing up. I also have Jordan Grace, Asuka, and then you have your Mickie James, your Trish Stratus, Becky Lynch is obviously going to be there. So those are kind of my returns that are definitely going to happen in my mind. What about you?
Yeah, so I just went for surprises here.
Oh, that works.
It's depending on how you want to word it, I guess.
Whatever.
So I went with Becky,
Yep,
obviously.
of
I
course.
think everybody has that. Jordan Grace as well, I feel like is a favorite. Julia from down in NXT.
Ooh.
I think that's an important one, especially because in the past we've seen Roxanne come up as the NXT Women's Champion. So I think we're going to get that again here.
Yep.
Speaking of Roxanne.
Yep.
I also have Jade.
Yep.
Alexa Bliss, I do think comes back. I think and maybe this is just me being a positive person here. I think the whole contract stuff is just a smokescreen. We've seen it happen before.
I would love it.
I'm going to hold out hope, and I might be stupid for, that at the end of the day, but I'm going to hold off hope. I also have Asuka.
Yep.
Masha Slamovich,
Yep.
TNA Knockout World Champ.
Yes.
Nikki Bella, Cora Jade. I think Slamovich comes over as well. We've seen Jordan Grace do it. You have some of that TNA talent. I think is obviously going to make an appearance in the men and the women's. So what better way to kind of have her in there?
Yeah, I had some NXT call-ups as well. I had them on another list. I did say Roxanne. I didn't bring Jade up, even though they are mad at each other right now or recently after NXT. Jada Parker. I want to see her in there. Meta girls, I think, are for Jakara Jackson, Lash Legend. They're 100% going to be in there as
I agree
well.
with those three, yeah.
Yeah, so
I didn't want to put the list too long, but
we could.
You could go on and on and on and on. So
When it comes to the women NXT, you can freaking really call up anybody and it'll work when it comes to the women's division specifically.
Yes.
So I'd be happy to see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go with our Iron Woman of the Rumble.
Yeah.
You're up. Who do you have as your Iron Woman?
So you already mentioned my Iron Woman.
Uh-oh.
Liv Morgan.
Ooh.
I think and I put specifically with the help of Raquel.
Look at that.
I think she lasts almost the entirety of this match with the help of Raquel. She probably doesn't do a lot of the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
Maybe Raquel has some people hurt on the outside and Liv comes over, punches them or kicks them once or twice, boom, gets the elimination. Stuff like that. I think it's really a showcase that you could, at the end of the Rumble, say, well, look how long Liv Morgan was in this match. You can kind of give her like for lack of a better term, a participation trophy. Look at how long she was in this match. Her talking about, hey, I have Raquel as my insurance policy, basically as my bodyguard. Like she's going to be there to make sure I win this thing. That's really telling. And I think Liv kind of needs that. So she needs like that participation trophy. So we don't forget about her because we're already quickly back to like mid-card Morgan or tag title Morgan. So I think that's probably where they go with the Iron Woman here.
I had the exact same thing. I did. And I did that based off of what I said about my first two in. I think that's going to be a big story throughout the match. I would love for them to do it if they both came in right away or very early on in the Royal Rumble. Liv obviously can do it. She's phenomenal at selling. So getting her in the Royal Rumble, she can make a lot of people look good, especially during a match where you do have call-ups happening. You do have legends that come back and kind of need the hand holding from the people who are doing it the best right now. Liv Morgan, I think, does come in, if not number one or number two, within the top 5, top 7, and she lasts, we'll get to that, but she lasts pretty far in this Royal Rumble. I see her being the Iron Woman.
Like 3 or 4 is probably where I have her.
Yeah.
Because you put me on the spot for 1 and 2, so like I can't change that. But 3 or 4, somewhere in that top 5.
Most eliminations. Yeah, we're breaking this down one by one. We're excited. Most eliminations, I think
we'll see if we match with this one. We don't share our list as always, so it's going to be interesting.
I have the obvious answer here. I think it'll be Nia Jax. I think that she's being booked in that sort of fashion. But I had a sleeper pick. I said sleeper can always be Bianca. And then my very, if I was a betting man and the odds were huge and I could throw $10 on it and make a ton of money, Lash Legend. Before Jade Cargill got injured, they were kind of booking the Meta Girls to be like a pseudo Bianca Jade version. Like they were trying to build them up to be equals. What better way to build up a Lash Legend than have her kind of be that dominating Royal Rumble figure who comes in and just starts throwing some of the lesser talent out of the ring? That'd be kind of cool. But if I had to put all my money on something, Nia Jax is going to be my person who most eliminates.
Yeah, that's exactly who I have. I feel like, especially with her match versus Rhea, they made it a point to say, like, hey, we're going to make sure she still looks strong here. Even though she took the loss, she didn't really lose anything in terms of momentum. She looked strong. She looked powerful. She's been dominant over the last year or so. So I really see that just kind of continuing here. I guess if I had to go with another pick, maybe like a sleeper person, how you kind of mentioned, I would maybe say Raquel. We just talked about how she's.
Good point.
We just talked about how Liv is going to use Raquel here. What better way to get Liv Morgan to go than to have Raquel get a bunch of the eliminations?
Fucking doy. How did I?
Yeah.
My entire list was based off that happening at the beginning, and I didn't include Raquel.
Yeah, which is kind of a weird thing to say. I never thought I would say that, but I think that's really going to be a pretty heavy storyline throughout this.
They made her look good against Bianca and Naomi this week. I could see it happening.
Yeah.
So I just went. Let's go some of the moments or some of the surprise things. Did you have anything like that?
No, I didn't really have any surprise things.
That's fine.
I think the main thing is just you get a Jade return. Maybe you get some insight, or maybe she just straight up calls the person out. I think more for me, the big moments of the Women's Rumble are going to be those debuts, those returns, those can you believe she's here? I believe that's going to be kind of what carries this, maybe not so much storyline.
I think that if I had to bet on like one big moment throughout the Women's Royal Rumble, I'm going to say that we find out who Jade's attacker was. Mm-hmm. I think that if she returns, she's going to return and go right after whoever did it. And I think it'll be Naomi. I think that she's probably the betting favorite for that one, but I think that that will be a big part of this match. And then I will just throw out there, Roxanne Perez is going to eliminate Bayley. They're going to continue that. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
Final four. You just went, so I'll just go. Final four of the Women's Rumble. Man, this was tough. Both of them were tough. Okay, the men's was kind of more easy. Just based
I don't know.
Off
I
the
feel
names.
like for me, at least, I thought this Final Four was pretty. I would say easy. I not as in like I'm going to get this 100% right, but the four names I picked, I was like, yeah, I can see all this.
My final four for the Women's Rumble: Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, and Liv Morgan.
Ooh, okay.
That's who I have as my final four.
Okay. Wow. Okay. My final four:
Okay.
Bianca Belair,
Okay.
Charlotte Flair,
Yep.
Becky Lynch, Io Sky.
Ooh, yo.
Mm-hmm.
I did. That was my. I wrestled a lot with Io Sky in this.
Yeah.
I really did. I just don't. Yeah, we'll get to our winners and stuff right after this. But Io was hard for me.
Commercial break.
Yeah, Io was hard for me.
Yeah, I think. I mean, we have 3 out of the same 4. I think Bianca. We've kind of seen that. I guess at least we are ready for her to get that singles push again. So we're kind of banking on that, especially if you have the Jade and Naomi stuff kind of break down the way you think it's going to. Well, Bianca kind of needs something. Yeah. Whether that is a win here or whether that's a feud coming out of it, something there. Charlotte is Charlotte Flair. They made a big deal about her coming back.
She's a top girl. Did you see her new merch? That's her thing. It's Charlotte Flair, top girl.
I don't like that. And then Becky is Becky Lynch. She's going to be coming back as well. It would be an interesting dynamic if her and Liv are in the Final Four because of the whole history there. Maybe Becky eliminates Liv to get down to the Final Four. That's maybe how I would, with my list at least, see it.
Yeah. I could see that happening. I think that obviously you had Io, I had Morgan. I think that those are very interchangeable. I think that most people would have at least Charlotte and Bianca in their top 4, in their Final Four. Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan, obviously that's been a rumored WrestleMania feud maybe, so we may not see them in the Final Four just based off of whatever happens there, but I think our answers here are pretty good. But the big stuff, woo! 2025 Women's Royal Rumble, who's gonna win it?
Go on Io Sky.
Io Sky.
I said that not super long ago, maybe a few months ago, but ever since I kind of talked myself into that, that's the match I want to see. I understand from a building perspective from Rumble to Mania, you could say, well, she doesn't have the character to maybe go up against Rhea, but they've hinted at it as well. I think I know who your person is. They've also hinted at that as well. So you look at it, Rhea's got a couple of different options, I feel here. I just feel like now more than ever, there's such a grand pool of women wrestlers that I don't think I see them giving it to somebody that's already won it. I think we get somebody new here. Liv makes a great, strong case there, but we've seen kind of the fatigue there and here. Io has kind of been around the main women's title scene, some number 1 contenders, some matches here, but I'm ready for her to really kind of get that push. And realistically, I'm just ready for that WrestleMania match because that match with her and Rhea is going to be 5 stars.
I can't argue with Io. I can't. Her and Bianca would absolutely put on a show. It's
Rhea. Her and Rhea.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, you said Bianca.
Oh, did I say Bianca?
Uh-huh. Bianca's one of the women's title.
Io and Bianca, WrestleMania. Would you look at that? We got a long way to go before then. But yeah, Io is absolutely spectacular. Rhea's spectacular. Their match would be spectacular. I've had my gripes with how I can foresee a build-up happening for that in terms of might work between the two of them, but I'm sure they could do their best at it. When it comes to the Royal Rumble, I wanted to choose Charlotte bad, but I just couldn't do it. I couldn't see them pulling the trigger on her just walking right back in, winning the Rumble, and walking WrestleMania. I thought about Liv Morgan. I don't want to see Liv and Rhea again. I don't think she's going to go after Tiffany Stratton. Because of that, I'm going with the money match that I want to see personally. Bianca Belair is going to win the Royal Rumble and take on Rhea Ripley. They're going to pull the trigger. The two top women's wrestlers in the game right now go head-to-head at WrestleMania against each other. Don't know who's going to win that, but I think Bianca wins her second Royal Rumble here, and we go off to the races with a phenomenal feud, and Bianca back in the solo division, back in the title picture where she belongs.
She does belong there. I'm not going to sit here and argue that. That's going to be fantastic. I think either of our choices, we would be happy. I think that Rhea Bianca maybe happens at next year's Mania, not this year. I think maybe it's a year away, but who knows? They've kind of surprised us here and there. Sign me up for that match, though.
Sign you up. No Liv Morgan consideration, really.
No. I made it a point. She's the Iron Woman, and people have already kind of relegated her to mid card or tag titles. That's kind of where she seems to be. I don't see her. I don't want to see her go after Rhea again. And realistically, I don't think her versus Tiffy, I don't think that feud would be very good, frankly.
I think she's destined for the tag team titles. I think that's where we're going with it.
Yep.
All right. Men's Royal Rumble time. We got the past 3 Rumbles. Cody Rhodes wins the last 2, but it's last year it's Rhodes, Punk, Gunther, McIntyre. Year before that, Rhodes, Rollins, Gunther, Logan Paul. Year before that, Brock Lesnar wins it with Drew McIntyre, Riddle, and Shane McMahon at the Final 4.
Yeah, in case you can't guess, that's the one we went to.
Yeah, that's the one we went to.
The Ronda Rousey, Brock Lesnar winners.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Absolutely wonderful.
Yes.
But let's get to it. Let's go for our first 2 into the ring. And as I'm looking down, I didn't have one for the men, so we're both going to just rattle this off the top of our head. Go for it. Who's the first 2 in the Rumble? Totally forgot to do it.
Going right off it. This guy's putting me on the spot. Give me Tama Tonga, just because I like that. Just because, yeah. I like that. So give me that. Who else is somebody I really like? Chad Gable. Just 2 people I really like. 2 people I love. Just put him in a ring. That's fine. I'll watch it.
I'll go Chad Gable Otis. I mean, why not? He called him stupid the other day for filming a TikTok.
Did you see the other side of that, by the way?
No.
I'll show it to you when we're done. The Maxine, the actual TikTok.
Yeah.
It's there. So I'll show it to you.
Oh, that's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. But let's keep going here. Who is going to be the Iron Man of this Royal Rumble?
Yeah. You want to go first on this?
I'll go first. The Iron Man of this Rumble is going to be Dirty Dom Mysterio. Ooh. He is a king at selling. He can do it. I think that the crowd is completely behind him. I think he is the perfect Iron Man for this match. He can be the guy that eliminates 2 people in a 40-minute span of being in the ring, right? He can just be the little worm that's sliding around the ring, takes a bump here, rolls under the corner, gets involved with, pisses off one guy, puts his hands up, runs away. Give me Dom Mysterio the entire time.
That's a good one.
I know it is.
I didn't put him on there. I should have, though. I've got 2.
Oh.
So I guess my secondary choice would be Penta.
I had him as my second.
The way that they've kind of been booking him. Also, there's some reports coming out that WWE is looking for Penta to have a strong Royal Rumble.
I saw that.
What better way to make him the Iron Man here? The person I think's maybe the betting favorite for me, though, is going to be Carmelo Hayes. He's kind of that
good choice.
Same slithery heel.
Yep.
He's athletic. He kind of always gets the push, and you see things like, man, this guy's really good, but he never really amounts to anything. I had it specifically let's say he comes in 3, 4, 5, somewhere in that range, and then later on, spoiler, this gives one of my surprises away. He gets eliminated by Trick Williams, and that's kind of what we do there. So as soon as I thought about that, I was like, yeah, I could see that happening. Like the music hits, Carmelo turns around, and it's like, oh, Melo's lasted 52 minutes in this match, and then boom, man, then he's done.
Yeah, I would love that. I think that Dom and Melo are the same sort of talent.
Same guys, just different shows.
Right, they really are. So I'd be totally down with that. Prediction or surprises, returns.
Yeah.
I went first on last one. Who do you got here?
Yeah, so there was one name I really wanted to put on here, but I didn't because of there's a Jericho Cruise. So
Oh, yeah, right.
Dolph Ziggler will not be on there. He is on the cruise. So I was very sad.
Oh, I thought you were about to say Jericho. I was like,
Oh, God, could you imagine? So my very first one that I wrote down is maybe a surprise. Somebody I didn't really think about until I saw the reports a couple weeks ago. I went with Omos.
yeah, I saw that too. And
How he vacated the GCW tag titles, said he's going back to WWE. This is a great spot where you need kind of a big guy. Braun Strowman is currently on the IR because, he was bleeding from the butt attacks.
Is he actually IR'd?
No, but
he should be.
Yeah, he should be.
I was thinking about that. He should not show up to the Rumble.
Yeah.
Because
shouldn't
Fatu killed him. And
he shouldn't be. So you need another big guy.
Yeah.
Omos is perfect. Plus, you could maybe have him feud with some NXT people. Maybe you have him go down to NXT and kind of get built back up as a legit giant down there. I went with Cardona because I love Cardona. I feel like it just makes sense. I don't know if he comes back as Zack Ryder. I don't know if he comes back as Cardona. I don't really know. I don't really care.
He should come back as Cardona with the woo-woo-woo.
He should come
intro.
back as Cardona at let's say 12, and then at 13, it's
Little Mick Foley.
He just comes back. Why not? Why not do that? Sure. Why not? I already talked about Trick. I think Trick's in it. I think Ethan Page is going to be in it. Or at least he should be.
Here you go.
I also have Obafemi.
Dude.
I have Joe Hendry, which I feel like is a given. And I have Pat McAfee.
Pat McAfee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's my list. Kind of a longer list. Not as long as the women's, I guess, but I feel pretty certain about most of these.
Well, there's only like 4 people left. All the slots already taken. My likelies, I had Joe Hendry. I do have Jeff and Matt Hardy now with the TNA deal. They're always good to come back once every 10 years.
Maybe they start out 1 and 2.
Maybe they do. Who knows? That would be awful. Randy Orton, I think, is a for sure comeback here. Definitely coming back. Joe Hendry, as you already said. My NXT call-ups, I do have Trick, Ethan Page, Obafemi at the very least. My unlikelies to show up here, I had Matt Cardona on my unlikely list. I have Brock Lesnar on my unlikely list, but it seems like every single day there's new rumors about the idea of Brock Lesnar returning in some way, shape, or form. AJ Styles, I don't know if he's back from injury quite yet. That was a big-time injury, and I haven't looked into it very much, but so I'm putting him on my unlikely here. And then Big E, I have as my unlikely because I think that he is actually hurt for life in a way. I really do. And then my last unlikely is the final boss. I don't think we're actually going to get a Rock return here. I am so sorry to everybody that really wants that, but just the recent stuff that surrounds him, I don't have confidence in it. I don't have confidence in it.
Yeah, the only one that I would sit there and push back on, and it's not even like a lacquer like that I don't want to see him. Like I want to see AJ Styles, so I almost put him on my list as well. He would probably go in an unlikely if I did that because of the same thing. Like if he comes back, that's awesome. That's great. I want to see him. I do think that injury is going to keep him out a little bit longer. Yeah. So I think it's just a legit injury that he can't come back from, which sucks to say.
Yeah, agreed. All right, most eliminations. Most eliminations. Well, you went first last time? Yeah, I'll go first.
Yep.
It better be Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu better eliminate half this ring. Like whenever he comes in, eliminate almost everybody in the ring. It is the time. Obviously, everybody in the crowd is completely invested into Jacob Fatu. The Saturday night main event match itself may have left a little bit to be desired, but the afterward stuff, I mean, he killed the man. I mean, he's that dude. The Royal Rumble is the perfect moment to have him interact with people that he hasn't been around at all, and to make an absolute statement on the entire roster at one time. You run in there and you clear house with Jacob Fatu. He's got to get the most eliminations.
Yeah, that's exactly who I had on here. I think there's realistically 2 answers. I think it's either him or I think it's Braun Breaker.
Obafemi.
Well, I think
Femi.
I think Oba and Jacob, they have a stare down. They meet face to face. One of them clears house face to face. I think Braun Breaker, I think Jacob, they also have a face off as well. If Omos comes in here, he'll face off against them as well. I think Jacob is going to clear house, but I could also see Braun Breaker kind of throwing those elderly people, as he said, kind of over the top rope. I wouldn't be mad at it, but the right play would be Jacob.
I 100% agree. I know you didn't have any, but in your surprises, did you have any moments that you wanted to shout out for this match? Any quick little match things that are going to happen that you think they may be through storyline throughout the match?
Not necessarily, but now that I talked about Cardona coming back for me, now that I'm like, hey, I should come back once as Cardona and once as Zack Ryder. Yeah, it takes up 2 spots. Yeah, I don't really care. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah, obviously we have another podcast coming out where we get more into our specifics and our what ifs and our stuff like that. I do think the favor is going to be a big part of this match. Whatever it is, I think the favor is going to be revealed here.
Yeah, and that's maybe a big. That's obviously a big thing. I just don't know. I'm not going to sit here and guess and put my finger on it because I have genuinely no idea of what it could be. So it's like, yeah, until I see it, whatever they come up with is probably going to be fantastic.
You know what? Here's a story. This is going to be the greatest Royal Rumble of all time. I think that with the people that are in it, with the storylines that we've already set up, this is the greatest setup to a Rumble, at least I can remember. And I think it's going to be the greatest Royal Rumble of all time.
Yeah, I think we're going to be talking about it at the end of the day, that this was top notch.
I'm going to let you go first on this one so that I can go first on the men's winner. Final four. Final four. Who do you got as your final four in the men's Royal Rumble?
Yeah, you said this was a little bit easier. It was kind of like a who do I cut out, I guess, because there are so many people, like you said, so many different storylines interwoven. But I went with Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and John Cena. Those are my final four.
Yeah. I went with all except one, and it was the exact same thing as the women's. When I was debating on the final person, we flip-flopped. I went Roman Reigns, CM Punk, John Cena, and Drew McIntyre.
Instead of Rollins.
Instead of Rollins. And that was the debate. Seth Rollins or Drew McIntyre. I've seen a lot of people say that they think Seth Rollins is going to win this year. I can't give a reason. The only reason I picked Drew over all of this is because I think his vendetta with Roman is going to be more of a play than we think. And I just think that Drew kind of deserves this moment more after the year he's had. If that's fair to say, he was the MVP. I think that he's just a big bad heel, and him being in the final four, staring across from him at Roman Reigns and CM Punk, his biggest rival against the guy he wants to destroy, right? Roman, he wants to destroy and make sure he never gets power again. That'll be cool to see.
Yeah. It's funny because the same reason you said his biggest rival staring across at Roman Reigns and CM Punk, well, Seth Rollins has that same exact story.
Yep.
So it's funny how you kind of tie those in together. I did go back and forth, I guess, on that, but for me, it was like Rollins was that company guy for the longest time. He was that John Cena-esque guy, not in terms of like overbooking, but he was doing the shows every time, wrestling in and out every day, every year. He kind of at the end of the day, like for me, the only reason I did it was you look at the career. I feel like he just kind of deserves to be in there with Cena.
Absolutely no, not going to debate that. Seth Rollins, one of the GOATs. Big time moment. You did the women's first. I guess that means I got to go first on mine.
Yep. I wonder if it's the same one. Might be. No way. It can be. Thinking about our final four, I don't think we had the same winner again.
Who is going to win the 2025 Men's Royal Rumble? It pained me to think about this because the second I said that, the 10-year-old Dr. Thugonomics loving Will wanted John Cena. The 10-year-old wanted it. But I can't argue against CM Punk. I think it is his year. CM Punk is going to win the Royal Rumble, and he's going to go on to face Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. CM Punk finally gets his WrestleMania main event moment. I think it happens here at the Rumble.
So, yeah, you look at it. You've got these final four here. You look at it, and I really thought you were going to pick Cena. I really did. That promo on Raw, or the weird promo with Cody, like, if that didn't sell you on CM Punk winning the Rumble, then I don't know what will. That's why he's my winner. I was thinking he was my winner already before that promo. That promo solidified to me that, well, he can really go two different routes now. He can really go after Gunther if he wants to, just because, or he can go face his friend. I never thought about him facing Cody Rhodes at Mania until Punk said it. And then I was like, oh, yeah, I would really like to see that match. That would be really cool. The buildup would be really cool. Yeah, you can sign me up for that. So I think what we really want in terms of the Rumble winners, or at least what I know I want specifically, is I don't want it to where, like, I know, hey, this person's going to challenge this person, the winner of the Chamber. Like, I like some questions right away after the Rumble about, well, who could they face? Which champion do they go after? I like that. So I think Punk is probably the best that you could pick there in terms of, does he go after Gunther? Does he go after Cody? Which side does he really want to choose? And you can kind of play with that for a little bit until you get the Chamber. Winner of the Chamber can obviously face the other guy.
Man, it just makes me sad. It just makes me sad. I want John Cena, man. I want it.
You asked about moments. I guess a moment would be that I think Cena probably gets down to the final three.
Yeah.
I think he's in the final 4. I think he gets into the final 3, and I think that place is going berserk. I think that place is going wild for John Cena, and somebody over the top rope.
I think it comes down to Cena Punk. I really do. I think that because I have my final 4 being Drew and Roman in the ring with those two. I think Drew and Roman just basically eliminate each other at some point.
That's a really good. If Drew's there, that's a really good point. Yeah.
Because
now that you throw that out there, I'm like, man, I might want to change my final 4. I'm sticking to it.
I think that Drew and Roman get caught up in the ropes, and maybe CM Punk goes over there and finishes them off, right? Because then there's another little topper on the CM Punk Drew McIntyre story of like, technically, I also did end you in the Rumble too, and then there's Drew obviously injured him in the Rumble last year, tie a bow on all that, right? And then the stare down between CM Punk and John Cena in the Royal Rumble, the final 2, it would be that Rock Hogan level moment where they're turning their heads and the crowd is just going absolutely berserk. Book it.
Yeah, now that you're sitting here thinking about that, now that you're sitting here talking about it, I'm like, man, I do kind of want that.
It's gonna be incredible. Man, that was fun. Royal Rumble is a fun-ass time, and I absolutely cannot wait for it this weekend. Once again, please stop by our live stream. We're going to be giving away T-shirts, and also it's just going to be fun. Come watch the Rumble along with a bunch of other wrestling fans who are just stupidly excited for what is shaping up to be the best Rumble ever.
It's really going to be top to bottom. This is going to be a stacked Rumble.
I completely agree. Anyway, follow us on all of our socials at COD WrestlePod, COD WrestlePod. Listen to us wherever you get your podcasts at Spotify, YouTube, Apple, etc. If you want to come follow the rest of our stuff and comment, we have a link tree in our bio. It's got all of our links to all of our socials. Come comment, come like it. We love talking to you guys in there, and we have a Discord as well if you want to come join us. So until next time, I'm Will. That's Brandon. We are the Cousins of the Destruction Wrestling Podcast, and we will see you next time.